Good evening. And again, I say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, friends from far and near. Thank you for gathering from across the length and breadth of this country. Those of you who have joined us from other parts of Turtle Island and from across the waters in Australia and Samoa, the UK, Israel, and so forth. It's so wonderful to have you here, joining us in the search for justice, for healing, for reconciliation for the people in this land. And a special thank you to the Keewatin Ochiche Traditional Women's Drumming Group, a group from here in the city of Winnipeg that have been very involved in a variety of community issues. So thank you for bringing us into this room in such a good way. My name is Dean Peachy. I work here at the University of Winnipeg, and I always have to explain that Dean is my name, not my title, so it's just okay to call me Dean. I'm here as Executive Director of the University's Global College, and it's been my pleasure to co-chair the planning for this conference, along with Rai Moran from the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation, who will be up here shortly. And as we've gathered together, I'm really looking forward to these days together and whatever they may bring. As we begin this evening in a good way, I want to invite Henry Skywater, representing the Dakota Nation. He's also an elder with the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs and with the Elders Council of the Treaty Relations Commission of this province, to sing for us the Spirit of Life song. Please, Henry.
My relatives, I shake your hand with a good heart. Can you just see the top of my head over this thing or what? You know, it's nice to see all the brown faces, all the nice white faces. It looks like salt and pepper. I want to share a story about Harry Bone and his son. When he was young, when Harry was young, his son was a teenager. I'm not going to say his name, but his name is Jason. And Harry traveled the powwow route all over the place. And he noticed one day that his teenage son didn't have a girlfriend. So he wanted to take him snagging. Oh, you white people snagging? For you, the name is romancing? So anyways, Harry said, well, I'm going to take you to Sioux Valley Powwow. You find a girl over there. So he took his son to Sioux Valley Powwow, found a girl, brought her home, bologna and bannock sandwiches. And finally, Harry asked his son, who's your girlfriend's mother? So he tells her. Harry says, no, Jason, you can't marry that girl. That's your sister. I've been around that woman. I know her. So anyways, I said, well, let's go down to Albuquerque. I'll take you down to Albuquerque. Gathering of Nations. So they go down there, he finds a girlfriend, brings her home, and then Harry asks, who's her mother? So he tells her who her mother was. Tells Jason, oh, you can't marry her. That's your sister. I was around that woman. And boy, it must have been quite a snagger, that Harry. So finally, his son was just frustrated and walked out and was hitting the wall outside. His mother noticed that, so Jason's mom went up to her. What's the matter, son? Oh, it's Dad. Every girlfriend I brought home, he says is my sister. Oh, heck, don't worry about your dad. He's not even your father. Oh. Okay, now we'll get a little bit serious. I always believe in my heart that laughter is the best medicine that we can have in this world. If we shared more of it, we would be better off and we'd be more healthy. Just laughter can heal you. I know it happens to me all the time. I stand up someplace to speak and everybody laughs at me. Anyways, the song I'm going to sing is a Spirit of Life. Spirit of Life song. Many times, our teachings, we teach about many things. But some of those very important things we forget, like the song I'm going to sing. There's a teaching behind that. And our spirit comes from the heavens. It doesn't matter whether you're red, white, black, or blue, or whoever you are, you all have that spirit. And it all comes from one place, and that's from the heavens. And they say when we're going to be born, this little blue or white light travels down from the heavens, and it enters our mother's womb and enters our heart, and that gives us life. And when we die, our body remains here, but that spirit returns back into where it came from. So the song says that. The song says, lightning beings, it's me. Lightning beings, it's me. Lightning beings, it's me. There's a house in heaven where I was born. Lightning beings, it's me. Lightning beings, it's me. Now, what has lightning have to do with the song? Very simple. God knew that one day when we grew up to be adults and do a lot of crazy things, and we were going to forget. We were going to forget where our spirit came from that gave us life, that we carry in our heart. It doesn't matter if you're a good person, bad person, or whatever you are. You have that spirit in your heart. And he knew that we were going to forget. So he put the thunder beings up there and showed the lightning. And the teaching says whenever we see that lightning, that it should remind us that that spirit lives within our heart. And that's a time we should pray and give thanks for the spirit that's giving this body life. For without that spirit of life, there would be no life. Think about it. And that's what this song is about. I want to thank the young man sitting up here. Ron, if you can give him a round of applause, because he loaned me his drum. And now I can't smoke because I gave him my last few cigarettes. I don't know if it's old age or what. I went to pay for my parking ticket so I wouldn't get my car towed away. And I also went for the drum. And I forgot to bring the drum, but I was smoking my cigarette. Anyways, here's the song. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you think about your spirit. Omitakiwas. Thank you.
Actually, Henry, it's not that they couldn't see you because of the podium. They couldn't see you because they were blinded by my halo here. So to locate us in this place where we are gathered, I want to invite to the podium a colleague and an institutional leader whom I greatly admire, Annette Trimby, who is the president of the University of Winnipeg. Dr. Trimby and her administration has been tremendously supportive of enabling this to happen here. Please, Annette.
I'm going to begin by suggesting we need a different podium for short people like Elder Henry and me. Tanshi, Annette Trimby, Dishinikashan, Meitene, Miyu, Kishakau. Now you can laugh, because I'm trying to learn Michif through cell phone messages. But I realized today, after spending time at a pipe ceremony, that I think it was you, Elder Henry, you made a joke about somebody wanting to learn a song through recording, so I don't feel so bad. But it's my attempt. So I'm really honored that you are here at the University of Winnipeg. We're very, very honored to be your hosts. I always begin when I greet people by acknowledging that the University of Winnipeg is located on Treaty 1 land in the homeland of the Métis Nation. And I sometimes admit that I grew up here in Winnipeg as a Métis woman, not knowing really anything about Métis history or anything about the treaties. And I'm a highly educated woman, I thought. So it's a real pleasure for me to be back in the city of Winnipeg at this time, back at this institution. I think educational institutions have a responsibility to play a leadership role in reconciliation. And we take this role very seriously at the University of Winnipeg. So in our new strategic directions, we've talked about indigenizing the academy. And some people really don't like that word because it's a mysterious word, and we try and make it simple by saying we want to be a place where Indigenous people, perspectives, knowledge are welcome. Recently at this university, we've put in an Indigenous course requirement, which means starting in the fall of 2016, every single student that comes here, before they graduate, will have to have taken at least 3 credit hours in a course with some content. And it was interesting, yesterday we have an Indigenous Advisory Circle, and we had a conversation about how we were progressing there. And I was reminded it's not just about Indigenous knowledge, it's about how we do things. And we talked about the importance of keeping the integrity of Indigenous methodology. We do think our role here at the University of Winnipeg is to grow leaders. And one of the conversations I had early days with Wab Kanu, he's one of your panelists, is I lived in Winnipeg, then I moved away to another province. And when I came back to Winnipeg, one of the things that I noticed that was really different in this city and in this institution was when we talked about reconciliation and the need to do a better job of attracting, retaining, and graduating Indigenous students, it's framed in a very different way here. It's framed in a much more positive way. It's not framed as a gap. It's framed as there are people with knowledge and perspectives that we need to connect with because we need to learn. So I'm very honored that you're here today. We recognize we're part of a community. We're trying to make a difference our way, but we will be stronger together. So I'm very much looking forward to the conversation tonight and to the conversations over the next couple of days. So with that, I just want to say a warm welcome. Thank you very much, Miigwech.
I just want to say if there are people looking for seats, there are quite a number of seats that are open on this side. Be brave, just walk right through and find a place. As I will invite Elder Rob Aptigan, who is Indigenous counselor at this university, to lead us in a blessing, and then the drumming group will lead us in the honor song following that.
I'll blame that on Henry. There's lots of seats, and he's patting his lap. And the way he really asked for the drum was he pretty much threatened me. No, just kidding. No, he passed me his last smokes for sure. First of all, I want to say that my role here at the University of Winnipeg is as, I think the title I'm most comfortable with is cultural advisor. There's a lot of people here at the drum that I would look up to as elders. But thank you for passing me this Gistema so that we can ask the spirit of this powerful and beautiful medicine to bless us once again, to guide our hearts and our minds. And I also want to say thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart, your mind, your gifts in the various capacities of this important work that needs to be done in reconciliation to honor all of our relatives that were directly involved in the residential schools, and also for healing to happen for the rest of us that are affected by it. A number of years ago, I was doing a sweat lodge, and a man and a woman had come to the lodge, and they were very distraught, very heavy-hearted, and this was at a time when the Truth and Reconciliation was having a convention or conferences at the Winnipeg Convention Center. And you can just feel the heaviness of our relatives. I refer to them as my auntie and uncle. So they had asked to come in the lodge and ask for healing. And it was during the first round, while the songs were being sung, that I had heard a voice. It was a grandmother's voice. And that grandmother had said, "Thank them." And it was such a overwhelming experience for me at the time, because a realization had just come upon me that 150,000 of our relatives that had been directly placed into the residential schools knew that when they were coming to this earth that they would suffer. Perhaps they didn't know how, perhaps they didn't know why. But at this particular time in this ceremony, I began to really realize and appreciate that all those relatives, aunties and uncles, grandmothers and grandfathers that had gone to residential schools, they went into these residential schools so that I didn't have to go to a residential school myself, so that my children and grandchildren, your grandchildren, will not have to go, that nobody else would have to go to a residential school again. And when that door opened, I looked at that man who still couldn't bring himself to cry, and that auntie, and I said, "They told me to tell you, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for the rest of us." And I don't know if he understood what the message was, but he started to cry, and felt a really strong release coming from that man and that woman. So when I think of reconciliation, it's very important that we have to go through that. But I think in part of reconciling, we have to keep in mind the spirit of and the ones that are here too, the human beings that are still here that have been to residential school, and the spirits of those that have been to residential school, that all they want for us is to take what they've done for us and to use that opportunity for us, especially as First Nations people, to heal and to grow again in kindness, caring, sharing, and truth. And that way, our families start to heal, our communities start to heal, and as a people, we grow stronger. And maybe one day, we get to call this place our home again, and know that other people that are here are in the home of First Nations peoples. and we can share it again in a good way. But we still have a lot of work to do. And I apologize too for not introducing myself properly. Jaco Mikosit Maigan Sinagasan, Ginaseo Sipin Nitotchin. Also from Churchill. I was born in Norios, but I grew up in Churchill. And my spirit name is Red Spirit Wolf. And I grew up with my grandparents, and both my parents did not raise me because they were also affected by residential school. And so I think about them and the changes that I've made in my life to honor them, and to all of our relatives that have been through and affected by residential school. I want to say thank you to the drum for sharing your gift of song, your beautiful voices, your spirit, to bring healing to what we're going to do. I ask in a humble and grateful way to Creator to allow the grandmothers and grandfathers to sit with us, to show us how to share and grow together in a kind way, in a respectful way, so that our work becomes impactful to honor our future generations, but also the ones that have walked before us and all the ones that are affected by residential school. I'm just going to sing one song and pray that way. And again, I'm very thankful to each and every one of you. I know you're all here, because we're all affected by that. But for those that are working directly and indirectly, so that healing comes out of all of this, and that unification comes out of all of this, I'm very thankful to you. You're very beautiful, very strong in your spirit, and thank you very much for that. And I'll ask you each to pray in your own way also. Hi. Thank you, Creator, for loving us unconditionally, for life and all the blessings of life. Thank you for the gift of languages. Thank you for the gift of song and ceremony. Thank you to the water and the fire, the air and the earth we walk on. Thank you for allowing all of our relatives in the natural world and the spiritual world to take care of us and to show us the way, the good way home again, so that we can live strong in our truth, in kindness, caring, and sharing, and share that with all of our relatives in the human world. Gininaskmat now, hi.
Okay, I'm sure that many of you have experienced meetings and conferences with endless speeches and even more endless preliminaries to speeches. I'm going to try to keep that at a minimum at this conference, but at the same time, thanking people, I think, is always in order. And so I want to, at the beginning of this conference, to recognize the people and the organizations that have made this event possible. So our organizing committee, and as I call your names, I'll invite you to stand and remain standing, please, until I have called everyone's name. Clint Curl from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Jonathan Dewar from Algoma University, Lorena Fontaine from the University of Winnipeg, Jody Giesbrecht from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, Regine King, Faculty of Social Work, University of Manitoba, Joanna Quinn from the University of Western Ontario, Scott Surson, Canadians for a New Partnership, Sherry Smith from the Treaty Relations Commission of Manitoba, Vanya Tubin from Global College at the University of Winnipeg, and a thanks also to Jennifer Thomas and her crew at Planners Plus for getting everybody registered. Thank you all for making this possible. And I want to acknowledge our partners, the organizations that have contributed. You see them listed on the screens at the front of the room, and especially want to acknowledge the support of the Winnipeg Foundation financially in making this event. There's also a bunch of hardworking volunteers that you'll see about in their white Pathways t-shirts, and they'll do their best to meet whatever your needs might be that arise. Can I promise that? Anyway. Okay. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the preliminaries and invite Rai to come forward and on with the rest of the program and our featured speakers tonight.